Alright fellas, here we're back in Pokemon Masters, and today we're going to be looking at the new Gloria Challenger outfit and Cinderace. I'm refusing to call these characters alts, just like I will continue to call Iris Champion Iris. Anyway, so we're going to be seeing how valuable this unit is to summon for, like we did of course for seeing this Battle Tower Leon, and all of the units prior, right? So this character is a fire tech damage dealer, and her main gimmick is that she can change to multiple types on her sync move, and she is very rebuff focused for her main source of damage, right? It's actually simpler to look at her here in Poma Tools. So first of all, I want to just let it be known, I don't think you should summon for this character. This character, their gimmick can be a little iffy at times, and they're also a fire damage dealer, which we don't need, right? We don't need a big influx of. Silver is a free fire damage dealer, and he's coming back later this month with his EX and Grid expansion, so you do not need, a fire damage dealer immediately, especially because he is also a physical attacker. He can be Sacred Fire, and his sync move are physical. Over here, of course, is special as well. So it covers the fire DPS for physical attacks, and Arcanine and Blue are rerunning later in the month as well, and are a really pretty solid fire damage dealer as well, for being, a free unit as well for the most part. Super effective base, but still not bad in terms of damage, right? So keep that in mind. Calum, of course, as well. He has gotten his Lodge unit today as of the time of recording this, and I guess uploading this as well. He's also a solid enough fire damage dealer to, do enough damage and deal fire weak stages. And of course, that's not counting Signet Suit Red, who you could get from the free ticket, right? Ethan with his Grid expansion. Serena is still a pretty solid option, right? All these fire characters, Hilda as well. So there's a lot of fire options, and that's not even including the limited poke fairs like Anniversary End, Signet Suit Hilda, or Signet Suit May, right? So anyway, fire damage dealer you don't need. She is pretty strong, right? But as is a lot of units, and her gimmicks, in my opinion, are not necessary. A lot of her gimmicks are striker based, right? So even though most tech units tend to have a gimmick like a field effect or debuffing or a status condition or status change or something like that, Gloria mostly doesn't have that. Her main gimmick for making her tech is that she has a rebuff. That is it. Anyway, yeah, she's mostly like a striker, another damage dealer. You can skip her. Now that we're done with that, let's look at her kit, and, for a little bit more detail, right? So, of course, whenever you start the battle with her, she will be a fire-type character. 5-star, by the way. Look at her stats. 650 HP, pretty solid. Average-ish HP, 370 attacks, pretty solid, 185 in both defenses is solid, and 333 speed is an R8 speed tier, right? So not bad stats overall. She has Pyro Ball as her main form of damage. It is a 4-gauge move, but due to fuel economy 2, she has it as 2-gauge, right? Which is very, very good there. 90% accuracy, 189 or 172 base power at 1 out of 5. Removes the frozen condition from herself and has a 10% chance of burning. Not bad. Bounce, not a great move. It's a 2-turn move. You charge up and then you attack. 182 base power, but it costs no gauge, so there's that. High jump kick, 3-gauge, but now 1-gauge due to fuel economy. It is 135 base power. Not bad for fighting, not too bad. And then when it fails, though, the user takes 50% of their HP in damage, which can be bad if you miss, of course. I think this also applies for if the enemy has like damage guard next or something like that. I could be wrong, but this is not. This can be detrimental depending on when you use it, right? Anyway, she's also got her trainer move, which raises her attack by 4, evasion by 1, and crit by 3. Very straightforward, very good trainer move, of course. Just get those offensive buffs. And then her trainer move, or her sync move, ace of the team, fire, fighting, or flying impact. Well, they have different names, but still, they're both the same thing. Their multiplier is increased whenever the enemy's type rebuff is lowered. So awesome, right? If the enemy has lowered rebuff, he'll be doing extra damage on top of doing extra damage already because of the rebuff, right? So that's very, very good there. And her skills, as we said, she's got fuel economy 2 and bronze sync 5 when she's a fire type pair. So there's that. And then Passio's ace, her passive skill. Not one I'm big on, whatever. Lowers the opponent's type rebuff by 2 ranks after using the user's max move. The type rebuff lowered is the same type as the max move used. So, if we use our max moves, G-Max Fireball, 450 base power, ignores passes that would reduce the damage of the move, and ignores passes that would protect the target against a crit. these, good abilities here for sure. And then max airstream, 400 base power, raises all allies speed by 2, and then max knuckle, 400 base power, raises all allies attack by 2. So whichever one of these moves you use, fighting, flying, or fire, it will lower that rebuff by 2. And then looking at her kit again, or even more, replaces some of the user's passive skill and sync move with a different passive skill and a different sync move after using its max moves, right? So let's say you use fire. This will still be your grid. You will still have access to all of these moves, and your passive skills will remain the same. You will have -2 fire rebuff, but you'll still have fuel economy 2 and bronze sync 5, which is great. If you use flying, you will miss out on the fuel economy, and you'll get piercing blows, which ignores the target's passive skills that reduce the damage of the attack, ignores passes that would protect the target against the crit, and ignores the target's endurance. This ability is not bad because, in my opinion, I don't like using bounce. I would never fucking use bounce. This move sucks. Unless you're like super effective, the move just sucks. That's it. But the ability Piercing Blows is really solid against a lot of stages, such as Legendary Arenas or Legendary Gauntlet stages, where you can use this Flying Max move and do damage, and then you'll have Piercing Blows, which can hit through Cobalions' need for a status condition. It can hit through Uxie's, Uxie, I believe, is the one that needs Burn or Trap. A status condition or status change depending on a health bar. It can go through that. It can go through Azelf's physical or special damage reduction depending on the health bar, which is good, right? It can go through all of Crystalia's stuff, I think. Though Cresselia has evasion, which can be a problem. Latias, it can go through I forget what the ability is called, where it's more stats it's raised. Fluid Fortification, I think. I think that's what it's called, where all the more the stats are raised, the more it reduces the damage of the attack. It can go through that, but of course, Lighthouse also has evasion, so you want to be careful of that as well. So it can go through all of these abilities, right? It's massive, right? It's amazing, awesome. Also, wait, hold on. So these moves, okay, accuracy could be a problem. So you may have accuracy problems. I may be wrong though. Evasion. I wish you buffed your accuracy. Whatever. So it can go through a lot of these like legendary arena abilities and potentially, extreme battle event abilities as well. Though that's only really going to be useful if you're like on the region, right? But still, that's good. This is why I actually like the Flying Max move, is because of this. But sadly, you are going to be missing out on the rebuff for your other two types because it will be Flying rebuff, and Bounce still sucks. Even with the 50% extra damage, you would very likely be more enticed to go for Pyro Ball or I'd say Bounce over High Jump Kick, but Pyro Ball is probably still your better option for damage, I would say. I could be wrong there, of course, but again, Bounce having 2 turns to like charge up, it just sucks. It really sucks. And then Quick Move Sync Countdown to 9. 100% chance of reducing the user's sync move countdown by 2 when it uses a move with the quick move effect tag. So this makes it so obviously it won't screw up with your sync countdown, of course, because using Bounce, it'll take 2 turns to charge, but it will only lower your sync countdown by 1. So this ability, it mitigates that problem, right? So keep that in mind. But I do like the Piercing Blows. Good ability. And then the Fighting Max move, in my opinion, the worst one. The moves never miss, which can be solid if you're facing enemies with evasion buffs, but generally not really going to be a problem, I'll be honest. And then hit HP recovery M9, 100% chance of restoring the user's HP when its attack move is successful. So essentially just a little bit of healing, right? Not that great. I would never use the Fighting Max move unless I'm like super effective or something. Fire, I could definitely see using in order to keep the extra damage and gauge efficiency of fuel economy, right? Because again, she loses Bronze Sync 5 whenever she uses her other max moves. She does not when she uses her Fire max move, right? As well as, of course, getting the Fire rebuff, right? So I think Fire is probably the best for damage and gauge efficiency, but Flying is very good against a lot of like legendary arenas where you can, hit through enemies that have bad forms of like damage reduction, right? So I think that Flying can definitely have some good use too. Fighting, I would probably never use unless I'm just doing super effective damage or something, right? Pretty niche, in my opinion. So that's the 1 out of 5 kit. The unit's pretty gimmicky. Not bad, but I'm not really too big on the gimmicks, because also, if you're like in a legendary gauntlet, this isn't bad for like a legendary arena. This isn't too bad because the damage tier is so low, I guess. You don't really need too much damage in order to, destroy a legendary arena. after the bar of an HP of a legendary arena ends, you will lose the rebuff if you have it, right? So like, let's say you use rebuff on the second bar, you take down the second bar, third bar, the enemy no longer has rebuff. By that point, the battle's already over, but still that can be a little bit of a bad situation for you if you want to use your sync move, because you'll be missing out on that multiplier of having the enemy's type rebuff lowered. So keep that in mind. This will also, apply to the sides, because her max moves do not apply rebuff to all targets, just the target she attacks. So, assuming you attack the middle with your max move, which most people probably will, and you take out the middle, your sides are still going to be problems because they don't have rebuff, so your sync move is still going to be doing a little bit less damage than normal, or quite a bit less damage than normal, I would say. So, that can also be a problem. This is also could be potentially, very noticeable in the high score event, where the sides are actually really, I would say the sides are definitely really strong. Obviously not as strong as the center, but still really strong in their own right. So I could definitely see that being a very big problem in a like fire type high score event where you want to use this unit, right? So keep that in mind as well. The rebuff will, rebuff is not always active, right? Only on the target you're attacking. So keep that in mind. Anyway, yeah, I don't recommend something for this character because, again, as you can tell, she's mostly based on doing striker damage. The piercing blows is definitely a very techie thing for sure, but of course, I would not recommend picking up a unit just for that ability, because being able to clear a legendary arena is great and all, right? Like getting that gauntlet clear is awesome. But when it comes to, saving your gems and preserving your gems, there's definitely better things to go for, and those units are also more than likely going to be really good for a legendary arena as well, right? Just because Gloria has this gimmick doesn't make it, super unique to her or make her like a super top tier pick or anything like that, right? So I would keep that in mind. So yeah, wouldn't summon for this character. Of course, Cinderace is your favorite Pokemon. Gloria's your favorite character. Whatever, go for it. Have fun. Have fun with the game. It's your choice, of course, but, keep this in mind. I would not recommend summoning for this unit. Anyway, let's look at the 2 out of 5 here. Let's look at the grid. All right, so 1 out of 5, she has nothing, as we, have stated. Nothing too much. 2 out of 5, she's got Burn Synergy 1 and Hostile Environment on Pyro Ball. Still not really reliable. 30% chance is not much. Not really that great, but sure, a multiplier, I guess. Super Duper Effective 1, of course, if you're fighting one of these 3 types, then of course you're going to be wanting to do some super effective damage. I can see that. So this could be a solid enough multiplier. Pinpoint Entry can actually be really good because all these moves have missed chances, especially High Jump Kick with how detrimental that can be. So Pinpoint Entry can be a good pick. Slippery Slope. This doesn't really matter too much, but there is a little bit of a caveat that she has at 3 out of 5, which can kind of work with this. Bounce, super duper effective. This can definitely increase the damage in the move, but of course, it has to be super effective. Max regen for some healing. Precision 1 on her trainer move. Even better, right? More accuracy buffs, the better, in my opinion. Power reserves for some multipliers at low HP, but kind of niche. Quick cure for some flinch immunity and whatnot. Not bad, right? Overall, though, the 2 out of 5, not too much. It's not like Leon's, in my opinion, where, Leon's has like 50% extra power. He's got gauge acceleration on his sync move. He's got a lot of stuff, right? We have super effective multipliers. Burn Synergy 1, 30% burn chance. Some accuracy buffs, and that's about it, right? Nothing too crazy. But continuing on with the Slippery Slope here, at 3 out of 5, she gets some other abilities. So she gets Haymaker as well as the sync nodes. These are only useful for each separate type. So this isn't 3 sync nodes that are plus 50. This one's for fire impact, this one's for fighting, and this one's for flying, right? So you can't really pick them all up, right? So just pick up whichever one you're going to be doing damage with, or plan to do damage with. Sync Quickening for MP restoration. I never would really use Bounce outside of super effective damage anyway, and if you are, then the enemy's probably dead. So you probably don't ever need to pick this up. Max Double Down, again, more super effective stuff, which I hate, but hey, she offensively is against 3 types, so this isn't the worst thing. Sync Damage Guard, not bad, and that's mostly it there. She's also got some max super preparation, so more super effective based stuff. She's got a lot of super effective based stuff, clearly. Max move attack up 2, just to top off her attack. I would not really ever pick this up. But then she has the opponent fail physical boost up to 9. So 100% chance of increasing physical moves next by 2 whenever the opponent's move targeting her misses. This is good for AoE moves, or if for whatever reason you decide to have her be the main tank. So that's why the Slippery Slope is here. That's why the evasion buff is here. It's literally a gimmick. I hate that gimmick, but it's a gimmick, right? I really do not like Gloria's grid. I do not. The only thing relevant, in my opinion, that she would get would be like the burn stuff and Haymaker. Most other things are pretty useless outside of maybe the sync nodes as well, right? Because if you're using Gloria, super effective damage, she's already doing enough. 200 base power bounces, 148 base power high jump kicks, pyro balls, whatever. She's got the rebuff, all of that stuff active. She's got the Bronze Sync 5 if you're doing 50%, or if you're doing the fire damage, right? She's got that max moves for already really strong power here. She's got her sync move, of course, already working off of the rebuff as well. She's going to be hitting hard enough super effectively. This grid is just for extra super effective damage. Sure, maybe it's good for Bulu, Cobalion, whoever is weak to fighting. I don't think there's a fighting weak stage, right, for the Legendary Arena. Good for that, maybe, but really, I would just work with her off-type. Working with her off-type is not hard. And I would, if you're going to candy her to 3 out of 5, just pick up Haymaker. Let's say you're doing fire damage, we'll just go off of that. Pick up like a grid like this, and just be done, right? Be done with this. Maybe you pick up the physical boost stuff. Literally have no fucking whatever. Pick up something like this, maybe. Just if the enemy uses an AoE move and you happen, to avoid it, then great. You got this ability, whatever, right? Almost all of her stuff here is related to super effective damage, which is only really good when you're super effective, which she already hits really hard super effectively, so I feel there's no real point. But that's just what I think, right? That's just what I think. So the 3 out of 5 grid, not really too great. I would probably just not worry about it unless you just want that Haymaker multiplier, which can definitely be a good substitute for this, because this sucks. This can suck in certain situations, right? It's not really that bad whenever you're fighting the opponent that has the rebuff, but once you start fighting the opponent that doesn't have it, well, you're a little bit fucked. So, yeah. Anyway, 4 out of 5, soften up 1, dashing team 9. Yippee. Attack move is successful. She can buff gauge with this. That's great, but this is more utility based than anything, and it's at 4 out of 5. Not really that great. Just bring a speed support. Defense crush 9. Healthy benefits is not great. Defense crush 9. That's not bad, but also it's literally just defensive debuffing at 5 out of 5. So if you want Gloria to 5 out of 5, have fun. Wouldn't recommend it. Wouldn't even recommend 3 out of 5 unless you want the Haymaker. Gloria, in my opinion, is just strong enough at 1 out of 5. If you want extra copies for some super effective damage on bounce, some super duper effective 1 here, burn synergy 1, the burns, max regen, accuracy buffs, you can do that for 2 out of 5. Wouldn't recommend it, but hey, you can. I would just keep her at 1 out of 5 if you do summon. Honestly, I think it's her best tier for getting everything you can out of her, I would say. Anyway, yeah, that's the summoner skip for Gloria, Challenger, and Cinderace here. Let me know if you're going to be summoning for them or not. I personally do not recommend it. She's a fire damage dealer. That's mostly all she can do other than rebuff, and the rebuff is very iffy as well because, of course, changing her passives here is not very great. Losing Bronze Sync 5 and Fuel Economy 2, in my opinion, is almost a never worthwhile thing to do, right? The only thing I can see you doing this is for Piercing Blows, which is only ever going to be against extreme battles, in my opinion, or legendary arenas, in which case the legendary arenas, the tier of power isn't really that high anyway, so it's not really going to be that big of a problem. And extreme battles, I don't know, you could probably make it work. It just depends on the extreme battle, right? It just really does. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to end the video there, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know how your summons go for Cinderace and Gloria if you decide to summon for them. Let me know who you are deciding to summon for later on if you are skipping, and yeah, I'll see you all later.